ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bryan, and I'm here to have a conversation with you this evening because I'm concerned about the health equity and social justice for African American older adults. As I was thinking about this, I was being inspired by so many different things, but I learned years ago that music is one way to be inspired when you're at your best and you're feeling your passion. And I was inspired by two songs, and one was "Wake Up Everybody," Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, which is what you heard in the beginning there. And basically, these greats were talking about social justice and issues and things like that before we even started thinking about social work and those types of things. And so I was really inspired by this music. But before I move on, I also want to talk about, that inspiration and what it made me think about is that this conversation this evening is really important. It's important to me, and I'm going to make sure that it's important to you and that you understand why this is so crucial that we have this conversation. And I said, well, the best way for me to do it is maybe try to break it down in the simplest form. And so what I came up with is 5-part play. We're going to do it in 5 acts. So act 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And so let's start off with act 1, which we talk about the impact. I first want you to think about this blank sheet of paper. Think about this blank sheet of paper, and then think about a pencil to sketch with. And then think about an eraser. It erases things away. This blank sheet of paper represents your life. It represents all the things that you learn and bring from the time you're born to the time you get to be 70, 80 years old. Pretty much fill this whole sheet of paper up with all kinds of memories and experiences and things like that. Just sketching your whole complete life out. Then I want you to think about taking this eraser, and all of a sudden, you have all these great memories and all these things going on. All of a sudden, you get this eraser and just start erasing things, little by little, very slowly. Slowly, everything, moving all those birthdays, your kids' names, your grandchildren's name, first time you rode a bike, all these wonderful, great memories. Just erase them all away until you get back to this blank sheet of paper. It's a little drastic, but it's real. And I'm here to let you know that there's a killer among us. Sounds a little strong, a little provocative, but yes, there's a killer among us. We haven't been able to slow him down. We haven't been able to stop him, and he's dangerous. His first name is Alzheimer's, and his last name is disease. He goes by the nickname of AD. The reason why this is so important is because there are some serious things going on, and I need you to really understand. So let's talk about the challenge. There's a great challenge when it comes to thinking about this disease and what it represents and the difference between all these different things. So I don't want to take for granted that you know the difference between Alzheimer's and dementia, because that's one of the most common questions that I get. So very quickly, I want you to think about dementia as being an umbrella term. And what that means is that there's many different types of dementia. Alzheimer's disease just happens to be the most common type of dementia. It means there are more people that have Alzheimer's disease than, say, some of the others. Vascular dementia is the second most common type. Okay? The other thing that I think that's important for you to know is that there's different stages of this disease. The beginning, the middle, and the late. Beginning stages, the person doesn't need that much. There's not a lot going on. Then they move on to the middle stage of the disease, and that's when things get to be challenging. It becomes more issues, and they need more help with activities of daily living and all those types of things. Then when you move on into the late stages of the disease, that's where they need all of the people. They need everybody they can get. The caregivers, the doctors, the social workers, everybody. Everybody's on deck at that time. And so it's really critical that you understand that, and that you understand also that the person's short-term memory is the first thing to go. So all the things that you think that they can remember that you said 15 minutes ago or an hour ago, and you're not understanding, just think about it. The short-term memory is what's gone, and they can remember all the things that happened in the 1940s and 50s because that long-term memory stays intact for the longest. Okay? Those are the things that are important as part about the challenge. Moving on into Act 3, I want to talk about the facts and the figures. Let's just be clear. There's facts. And the fact is that there's over 5.5 million people living with Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease is the 6th leading cause of death. And it's the 5th leading cause of death among older adults. So when you stop and think about that, that's pretty alarming. The other thing I want you to stop and think about is when we talk about African Americans are 2 to 3 times more likely than any other group to have Alzheimer's disease. This is really, really important because they are less likely to get a diagnosis. They're less likely to be able to plan. There's a lot of caregiver burden. People are confused trying to get resources and things like that. And so it's really, really critical that you understand that. Now let's also think about what this disease may be costing our nation. Just this year, it cost us $259 billion with a B. By 2050, we're talking $1.1 trillion with a T that this could cost our nation annually to care for people living with Alzheimer's disease. This is really, really, really important for us to think about this and how we decide to deal with this. Now let's move on into Act 4. Act 4 is where we talk about the anger and frustration. And this is my personal story about how I'm impacted by this disease and how I became part of this movement and what was going on. My dad was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease in the middle of my graduate education. We're not talking about a man that was deserving of a son to run to his rescue to take care of him. We're talking about an absent father that wasn't really there for me. And basically, I went to bed one day and I woke up as a caregiver. I woke up and I had to make a decision, what do I do for this man? Got a phone call, they told me he needed 24/7 care, that he had Alzheimer's disease. I had not a clue what to do. I was concerned about, finishing school and all these different things because I had my own life. And so I was angry and I was bitter, but, I figured out, what? I'm no better man than him if I turn my back on him in his time of need. And so I was encouraged to step in and do what I could do. Use my background as a social worker, use my background in the work that I've done, and figure out how to take care of this man. That's my father in the midst of me going to school. So what I did is that, I ran into the same issues as everybody else. I couldn't find culturally appropriate services. If they had them, they weren't in his area. I tried to get, Medi-Cal for him, all these different things. All the same things that everyday people go through that I've been helping is the same thing I was faced with. And I said to myself, this is not working. I need to do something different. And so long story short, I had to figure out a way to take care of my dad, and the best thing for me to do was to create a care facility. I was able to create a care facility, and I thought to myself, I'm on the roll here. I'm past the anger. I'm past being frustrated of not being able to find things. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make the best out of this. Got the facility license, moved him in, had other people come in there, and it was a great opportunity. I met so many different families. I worked with people in the community, and of course, we had a small impact on a small group of people. And as I began to go through this more and more, I began to think, I need to do something different. I need to reach more people. I need to really get this message out here. So what better way to do that, I thought, was, get a job working at the Alzheimer's Association, one of the leading health organizations there around. This is what I thought, okay, great. So I landed a very, very nice job at the Alzheimer's Association, director of professional training. Pretty much thought that, I could do anything I wanted to do. Here's my opportunity to make a huge difference, can work with physicians. And so rather than working with 2, 3, 4 families and a few people in the community and having a resource director with a small facility, I'm now in a position now where I can help so many people because I have this prestigious job, with a nice office and, making a decent salary and all these things. Pretty much thought I had it made and had arrived. And till one day, basic changes in management and things happened. And before you know it, I was pretty much silenced. All of what I thought I had, at the end of the day, I really had nothing but a job that allowed me to do the work and do what they told me to do. And basically, I found that to not be rewarding any longer, and I needed to make a move. And so there I was in the middle of my career and my work, thought I had everything that I needed, and found myself having to look elsewhere to try to be innovative and be creative and do the things that I wanted to do. And as I began to seek out different things, I thought, you know, let me connect with some of the people I know in the aging community and see what I can do. And before you know it, started working with Dr. Karen Lincoln and transitioned on over to USC, and the Alzheimer's Association was history. The difference in the two is that coming to USC, I was able to work with someone that valued my work, valued my creativity, allowed me to do the things that I wanted to do, allowed me to take my passion in and go to places that I thought that I could never get to because my hands were tied. You know, I kind of felt like Cecil Gaines in the White House. It was okay for me to be there, but just don't say anything. But that's a feeling, and I'm a person. And so that transition to USC was probably the best thing for me at that time in my life because it gave me opportunity. That opportunity then transitioned into another opportunity, and that was to further my education, to pursue a doctoral degree. So here I am today, passionate, happy, I'm ready to take the lead. This is part of the challenge, and this is part of what I want to do, but I need some help. I need to be able to bring people along with me on this journey, and I need to be able to take this leadership role. But as I've been doing the work over the years, I really realized that the relationships are really, really important. Each and every one of you out there are really, really important to what we're doing. So there was some frustration, there was some anger, there were some challenges, and there were a lot of things that were going on. But now let's move into Act 5. And Act 5 is where we really take it to another level. Let's talk about the hope. There's hope. There's hope at the end of the road because we can change the world. We can do this together. We can begin to look at the things that we need to do, come together, collaborate, begin to find ways for us to join together, join forces, because you and I together, we need to change the world. I can't do it alone. I can't do it by myself. You know, I want to see a world without Alzheimer's disease. So I need you to join me in my efforts to make a difference. We can be innovative, we can start all kinds of programs, but the first thing we have to do is we have to come together. I need help from each and every one of you. We can do this together. I really can't do it alone. What I need from each and every one of you is I need everybody to wake up. Wake up, everybody. I can't do this alone. Let's change the world. Let's change the world together because we need a harvest, and we need a harvest quickly. And all I want to know is, will you join me in my efforts and get on board and follow us and be a part of this movement and understand that every single thing that we're doing is really, really important. And we need you to be a part of this effort because this impacts all of us. You know, when we all come together and we work together, we can have a much better community to take care of those right there, faces of Alzheimer's disease, as they suffer